I know I've popped on here before and talked about my story, but I've got a few new people here, so I'm going to say it again. Since day one, I have been a foodie. I was the person that was always finishing other people's plates in my friends' cupboards growing up. By age 19, all of those behaviors caught up with me. I decided to go on my first diet at age 19, and that made me spiral out of control with food for the next 13 years. I kept trying to figure it out. I studied health and nutrition in college. I read all the nutrition books. I hired coaches to help me. But every time I made effort, things would backfire. And of course, like, my body dissatisfaction would grow. The food noise would not stop. And sometimes I would fluctuate between not caring at all and then back to this shame and guilt and like, what the heck is wrong with me spiral. Of course, I didn't stop trying. In 2017, 2018, I learned how to macro count, and I dieted the hardest I've ever dieted before, and it worked until, of course, it didn't, and everything kind of came crashing down on me. My relationships were, and then also my mental and emotional health, also really crappy, and everything went back to the way it was after I stopped dieting. That was my big wake-up call, like, clearly I'm not doing this right. So I joined an intuitive eating coaching program, and they were great. It helped me for a few months, helped me finally make peace with food, for sure. I do find that their program is missing a few components, like they don't talk about how the food affects our brains or our physiology per se. But I ended up also finding eating psychology and cognitive behavior tools and studied those, and those really helped as well. Then I became a nurse practitioner, and I practiced in a metabolic clinic. So I started to understand metabolism and nutrition even more. And that's when I was finally able to start implementing all of these things together and eat in a way that really serves my long-term health. As a nurse practitioner, of course, I was interviewing a lot of patients about their nutrition, and many times they were telling me how difficult it was for them to change. They too were struggling with their food and their bodies, but unfortunately by that point, their metabolic health was really suffering. I don't ever want to come across that women are the only people that struggle with body image or food or any of that, because I know that is not true. But honestly, when I was interviewing people, women were the ones that were most likely to open up to me about it. As I had an hour with my patients, I often got to hear a little bit more of what they were experiencing, and metabolic dysfunction, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, it's a real downer. I saw a woman that wanted to have babies, but they were infertile due to PCOS. Or women would talk about, like, I want to go play with my grandkiddos, I want to do this or that, but they had no energy, they were fatigued, and they had so many complications due to this disease. Working as a provider in the healthcare system was such a wake-up call for me, and watching how severe a disease can get, where we could have caught it and done interventions so much earlier, but the healthcare system and the primary care system is not set up to do that. And that is why I created SugarSmart. It's this bridging of health and wellness and medicine, bringing them together so we can catch things early so they don't become severe. I've had many people say, hey, everyone just wants a pill or they want a handout. Well, yeah, there are people like that, of course, but there are also others that are looking for more knowledge, tools, resources, and they want to change. This is why I do what I do. Honestly, you don't need another person telling you, don't eat this, do eat that. You need to change the way you think and act around food, so then you can nourish your body in a way that supports your long-term health without shame, without guilt. If you are tired of the freaking diet cycle and ready to get out of it, I do have a few more spots opening for my coaching program that starts tomorrow.